Welcome. You're listening to this week's episode of the This Had Better Work podcast with your hosts, Angela, Holly, and Craig. Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today for the This Had Better Work podcast. My name is Craig, and my company is Vertice Data Analysis. My company works with minority small businesses to help them make more informed decisions through the use of data. Today's topic, if I can call it that, excuse me, today's topic is about something that I saw in the news last week, I believe it was. It was about Wendy's, the fast food company, announcing its dynamic pricing scheme that it will be rolling out in 2025. If you have not read this, I would highly recommend that you go online and search for Business Insider. That's where I read the article. The title of the article for Business Insider is Wendy's Dynamic Fiasco: How the Fast Food Chain Botched the Rollout of its Dynamic Pricing Plan. In the media, it has been labeled as surge pricing, meaning that at certain times of the day, the week, the year, whatever, prices will shift. They will surge to a different price point depending on whatever metrics Wendy's is using to determine when to change pricing. When I first read about surge pricing that Wendy's was rolling out, now again, this wasn't their terminology. This was the media labeling it as surge pricing. I guess kind of get some eyeballs on the story, or maybe it was just the way the media understood what Wendy's was trying to say or trying to do. When I first saw it, though, the first thing I thought about was being in line, imagining myself in line at Wendy's, wanting to order something, and that something being chicken nuggets, and we'll just say that the price of chicken nuggets is $1.99. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just saying that's what the price is just for this scenario. Being in line at 2.59 and seeing the price of chicken nuggets at $1.99, and the person in front of me orders chicken nuggets. I can see on the screen they've ordered chicken nuggets, $1.99. Oh shoot, that's good. That's a good price. I'm gonna buy that. But by the time I get up to the menu, it is now 3 o'clock, and the price has changed from $1.99 to $2.49. And I'm thinking to myself, the person in front of me was able to buy this for about 50 cents less than what I am now being asked to pay for it. I still want the chicken nuggets, but do I want to pay that $2.49, that 50 cents more that I am now being forced to pay, which is more than what the person in front of me, who was just in front of me, less than a minute ago, they were able to buy it for a lot less. So I thought about that. Of course, dynamic pricing happens in many different things. You can buy a car, for instance, at the end of the year for a greater discount because dealerships are trying to get vehicles off their lot. So you're going to have lower prices just to kind of get inventory moving. If you have a small business where you have a product or a service where it's slow moving, or it's out of season and you just want to kind of get it off your books, you kind of lower the price. Or if it's a hot item and people are really asking for it in droves, and you want to capitalize on that, you would charge a higher price because you can. It's supply and demand. I can understand that, and I think that you can understand that as well. The issue I have with the Wendy situation, though, is if it is something that happens in a seasonal way, if it happens in a seasonal way where I don't see it, it's a gradual thing that happens, like Frosties will be a little bit more expensive in the summertime because it's a cold treat. People want something cold and refreshing during the summertime. It may not do so well in the wintertime. I can see that. But the issue for me is if it's a daily thing, if it's a thing where people are where Wendy's is manipulating the price of things hour by hour, date, morning by afternoon, comparison, that for me is off-putting. And I'm wondering how you, as a listener to this podcast today, knowing about this story, hearing about this story, how do you feel about this? You know, I would be interested to see in the comments, and if you would do so, please put in the comments if you're so inclined to do so. Put in the comments what your thought is. I would say read the article again, Business Insider. Read that article. Let me see if there is a date on this. This was written by Emily Stewart on February the 28th, 2024, and she actually wrote it at 4:22 a.m. That's the Central Standard Time for me. She was up early writing this story. Go online, read the story for yourself. And actually, I'll put a link to the story in the description so you can find that directly. Look at the story, read it over, and then put in the comments what your perspective is from a consumer side of things. If you're a business person, let me know your thoughts on that. From a business perspective, I can see it, I can understand it, it makes sense. But from a consumer standpoint, it's a tough sell. It really is a tough sell. Let me just scroll down a little bit and read. This was after some of the backlash came out from people who heard about this. Let me preface this by saying, from what I've read, this wasn't something that was a press release. This was something that was announced during the earnings call that Wendy's had with the shareholders. And so this information was leaked. And then Wendy's was put in the position of having to play catch up and try to fix the thing through a PR blitz. So this is Wendy, a Wendy spokesperson talking to the writer of this article. It says, in a separate statement, a Wendy spokesperson confirmed to me, again, that's the person who's writing this article, that the menu board would offer a variety of new features, including dynamic pricing, different offerings in certain parts of the day, AI-enabled menu changes, and suggestive selling based on factors such as the weather. The article goes on to say the move will let the company be competitive and flexible with pricing and motivated customers to visit, and it will include discounts and value offers, the spokesperson said. Now, of course, they have to include the discounts and value offers because we want to know what's in it for us. Okay, there's going to be some discounts and value offerings. I'll give it a try. I want to see what the discounts and value offerings are, the value offers are, so I can make a decision as to whether I'm okay with the dynamic pricing situation going on. There is a podcast that myself and Angela and Holly will be working on relatively soon, discussing benchmarking, and how companies can benchmark against other companies to solve problems within their own company or their own service or their own business. I invite you to listen to that podcast when it comes out. It should be coming out in the next week or so, because I want to get some feedback from Holly and or Angela about benchmarking and how we in our own businesses have used benchmarking. And listening to that podcast, I hope will allow many of us out there who are listening to this podcast get a better sense of how to do benchmarking, the benefits of benchmarking, what it is, and how companies are using it to better themselves. I bring that up because I feel like we as small businesses, minority businesses, or whatever type of businesses that we have, can benefit from news and information like this Wendy's article, because there's someone out there, there may be quite a few people out there who are running fast food businesses or in the food service industry or even totally different industries where surge pricing or dynamic pricing could make sense for you. Services that are in less demand, you have price for that. Services that are in higher demand at certain times of the year, certain times of the day, you may want to fluctuate your prices. So looking at this example from Wendy's and using them as a benchmark to determine how you want to roll out your campaign, or if you even want to go in that direction, roll out your campaign, the things to avoid, the things to keep in, the things to kind of modify, the things to kind of shape to fit your situation is a good thing. Using Wendy's, or this example of Wendy's, in this surge pricing this surge pricing situation could help you in your business. So again, listen to that podcast when it comes out. Again, it should be coming out pretty soon. But I say all of that to say, it would behoove us to look at business news on a regular basis. Make it a habit of looking at business news. I know there's so much stuff in the news. I have pretty much, and I hate to say this, but I've been driven to the point where I just don't enjoy the news anymore. I don't want to hear so many of the stories that are going on because there's nothing I can do about things, and I feel like it's just clouding my mind with just negative thoughts all the time. But when it comes to business news, I kind of perk up because that's something that is interesting to me. It is something that can benefit me and benefit my service and the product, the service that I offer people. It can benefit me, and it helps me to know who's doing what. Who's shaping the landscape of the economy, who's shaping the landscape of e-commerce and commerce and customer interaction and all that kind of stuff. It behooves us to look at that information or look at those news types of articles and stories in the news to help us understand what's going on around us so that we can benefit from it. Some things we won't be able to use. Like for me, I can't think of how surge pricing can help me, or dynamic pricing can help me. But there's someone out there that probably could benefit from this. But there's other stories out there that do directly benefit me and do kind of help shape the decisions that I make for my own company to become better, to become more professional, to offer better products and services, to be more professional in the way that I present myself. Those things kind of help me, and I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I can just look at a company, say it's Amazon, for example. I can look at Amazon and say, I like what they're doing right there. I have a problem in this area. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I can just look at what they're doing and modify it, of course, but apply it to my situation. So that's all I wanted to say about this Wendy situation. I don't know what the end will look like. This is going to be rolled out evidently in 2025. So next year we should start seeing this. If you are around Wendy's restaurants, you should be seeing at some point some new menu boards going in through the drive-through and probably inside as well. It looks like Wendy's going to be investing like $20 million to upgrade their menu systems. So you should be seeing some changes going on. I wouldn't be surprised if I would see some in-store changes as well, or how the drive-through is run to better capitalize on surge in business. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, and I would love to hear your comments. Thank you so much for listening today, for being a part of this. If you're interested in participating in an upcoming show, please reach out to us. We would love to speak to you. We have some good comments and some good feedback. We've gotten our listenership up. We're going to be on TikTok now. Actually, we are on TikTok. We have our shows posted on Instagram. If you want to check us out there, I'll be posting shows on Facebook. And of course, they're always available on YouTube as well. Thank you again for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Oh, before I say that, please give us a like, a thumbs up, give us some comments. Please subscribe. Please tell other people about this. If you are finding these podcasts to be helpful and beneficial, please let other people know about them so that we can continue to grow and reach more people. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and we'll talk to you next time. Have a good day.